We continue with our childhood poverty series looking into the historic practice of redlining. That's the practice of keeping blacks and other minorities from buying property in certain areas.
Local 12's James Pilcher has obtained some maps showing just how the federal government created those areas in some of our communities as we focus tonight on the city of Hamilton.
I'm standing here on the banks of the Great Miami River in the city of Hamilton in an area that the federal government deemed as dangerous for housing development in the 1930s. But the language that federal agents used to describe this area went much further than that. The Federal Homeowners Loan Corporation color-coded major cities throughout the U.S. in the 1930s. An A grade was shaded green, with a D being called hazardous and colored red. The map for Hamilton includes accompanying documents stating Section D1 was, quote, an old section on bank of river occupied by a low grade of Negro population as a whole. Another section was occupied by a lower grade type of factory worker. A third red zone included this, quote, badly mixed type of population.
Money short.
Reverend Victor L. Davis has lived in Hamilton his entire life. 71 years, and is seen as a leader of the city's African American community. He's well aware of the historic practice of redlining.
It angers me in the sense that in the 30s and 40s, my people were still looked at as if they were less than the Caucasian population. And then to stereotype or to classify them saying low grade is even worse.
Davis says the effects of segregation and discrimination can still be seen to this day in what he calls the First Ward. Here is what the area looks like now. It's on the southeast bank of the river. Online real estate website Zillow says homes in former red zones in Hamilton are worth about $85,000, compared with nearly $211,000 for those in the green A zones. The University of Richmond has been unearthing the historic maps and accompanying documents from national archives and putting them online.
I was not surprised that there was a ton of racism in there. I was surprised how clear and direct the racism was, that there's no efforts to, hide this as a dog whistle.
I reached out to Hamilton city officials to discuss the maps and the current situation in the city. Mayor Pat Moeller said the city planning expert was out with COVID and that he wanted to study the maps in more detail before commenting. There was a similar map created for the city of Cincinnati, but it hasn't been received or verified. Professor Nelson says they're working on that and they might be able to post it soon. Now, coming up on Thursday, I'll be looking at the map created for Northern Kentucky and how redlining affected that area. In Hamilton, James Pilcher, Local 12 News.
You can read all of our previous redlining stories and all the other pieces in our childhood poverty series at our special website, childhoodpoverty.com.